listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
Good morning. This is the Frank Skinner Show. This week, our Supreme Leader is otherwise... Is that okay, Supreme Leader? He's otherwise engaged now. That was the official statement from the TV channel. I'm here. I'm Emily Dean, London's shortest sidekick. I'm joined by the ever-marvellous Alun Cochrane and the fabulous Gareth Richards.
Good morning.
Good morning, boys. Oh, we
Morning.
should do the business. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Can I say how I feel this morning? Sitting...
Feelings.
I'm not getting emotional,
It's all
don't
about
worry.
feelings, isn't it, these days? Go on.
Well, it's more what my view is with you two.
Okay, yeah.
I feel a bit like when the two sort of youngish dads come to the school playground gates and everyone's got a bit of a crush on them.
Oh,
That's nice.
I'll take youngish, but
the
at
mums-
43, I don't think I'm a youngish dad.
Well,
I think
43? You don't look 43.
better.
let's not get on.
Good.
Let's not get on to
Better.
people's ages. But I feel a bit like then the mums get girlish and they get a
Don't think
little
they
bit.
do.
They do. They say, "Oh, Alan, I've been meaning to talk to you about drop-offs." They have a little flirt with you, I reckon. That's okay.
See, I take my kids to a northern school. Drop-offs in the playground is a quite uncouth euphemism. Anyway, continue.
Okay. I've got something I need to discuss with you before we kick off this morning.
Right.
It's something that's caused me immense embarrassment.
Brilliant.
I thought you might say that.
Good stuff.
Okay. I had an incident this week that was so horrifically embarrassing.
Oh, excellent.
I haven't
Let me pull
even-
up my chair.
Gathered by the fireside.
Yes.
I haven't even been able to share it with some of the people that were there that evening. So this is breaking news for them. That's how hideous it was.
Breaking embarrassment news.
Okay, so buckle up, everyone. So I went to my friend's gig this week. You're familiar with the comedian Catherine Ryan?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Funny.
Excellent.
Very funny. Very funny lady.
She's funny.
That's what they would have said in the 70s. That's what they said about women. Very funny lady. Great lady. Brilliant show. It's called Glitter Room, can I say. It was on at the Gareth. Catherine she's a bit of a stone cold fox, so I want to make an effort for her. I got the prosthetics out and, the heels. And I took two Gen Zers along. Are you familiar with the concept of the Gen Zer,
Gen
Gareth?
Zers.
Mm.
Young people.
Yeah.
Is it millennials? So when
I
is
think
Gen
he nailed
Z?
it. Until he said millennials, and
Yeah.
then he spoiled it.
Then he ruined it.
But young people, if you just stayed with young people, I
Right.
think you were all right.
Gen Zers are basically, I would say, how old are you people? Yeah, she says she's 26, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gen Zers are generally in their early 20s. These
Right.
two,
Oh, okay.
so I'm with my goddaughter.
So it's a subset of millennials.
Yeah.
Is it, or is it after millennials?
No, they're no
Yeah.
subset.
I
They're-
thought
they're their own-
post-millennials was after millennials.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There was a thing in the news this week about the classifications.
Oh, was that?
If only you'd
Everyone
ripped
should
that
have to
out
wear
and brought it
badges.
along in your scrapbook.
Well, they're young, okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
gotcha.
And I know they're young because they say things like savage.
Oh, right.
That's the word they all use now.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it?
Yeah, I'm going to try it out. Savage.
It's good.
Does that sound good?
That sounded like you were ordering some dogs on someone.
Yeah, yeah.
Savage.
It sounded like Robbie had cheated on me. But yeah, but they're a great companion, I find, because they don't get messy on the drink.
The young
Right.
people,
No,
the
they
Gen
don't
Zs.
these days, these Gen Zers,
Right.
because they've got their avocado smoothies. They don't do alcohol.
Oh, really?
They don't
Yeah.
drink cider anymore. Cider was the thing when I was young, I think.
Yeah, cider and black, maybe?
No, what was that? Oh, cider and black. Was that
Yeah,
snake bite and black?
Blackcurrant cordial, really.
But they.
Cider and blackcurrant cordial.
That was a drink, yeah.
Wow.
Not one that I enjoyed.
Too
but,
sweet.
But it happened.
Too sweet.
Also, I don't know if I approve. I mean, that's essentially Ribena and alcohol,
Yeah.
which is a children's drink,
He's a
surely.
trailblazer for the Alco Pop, looking back on it.
Whatever happened to the Alco Pop?
Still going, I think.
Is it? Can you still get it?
I've had about 5 already today, so
Oh, God.
early start for Alan Cochrane.
So, basically, we're at the theatre. I'm with the Gen Zers. I'm having a lovely time. And suddenly, I just felt something odd in my mouth. Okay. Should I leave him hanging? Yeah. I'm going to leave him hanging.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I was talking before that. I was at a gig, wasn't I?
You were at a gig.
I'd gone to Catherine. What had happened, Al?
I think you left us on a cliffhanger where you had something in your mouth or something in your throat. Is that
something unexpected that you weren't expecting to be in your mouth?
Those are my kind of...
I don't remember her articulating that, because I was hoping that Emily was then going to discuss like individual teeth using the dentist sort of index.
Right.
Well, I'm right here. I can tell you. So, I'll tell you who else were performing that night, supporting Catherine. Is it the London Gay Men's Chorus?
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely fabulous. I can think of no better word. to describe
Absolutely
them.
fabulous.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
They sung I'm Going to Wash That Man Right Out of My Hair. That's what I won. It wasn't a very Donald Trump-friendly evening, but I don't care. I enjoyed it. So I feel this thing in my mouth. And you know what it was? I thought, I bet it's... I don't want to get too technical here, but I feel I'm amongst friends. I thought maybe it's a stray bit of that minstrel I had earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it has the hard
The
coating.
sweet.
You know, the hard coating on the top of the minstrel.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'll have some chewing gum.
I was like, I don't think there's a musical act opening for Catherine, but yeah, no, you mean the sweet.
I
Yes.
do. So I had the chewing gum, and everything was okay, or so I thought. I felt something odd. Suddenly felt a tap on my shoulder. Wouldn't you know? It's the editor of Cosmopolitan
Okay.
magazine. I mean, she's a stunning woman. Very elegant, very glamorous. Yeah. So it was unfortunate that it was her I ran into as I felt my tooth come out.
Ooh!
My tooth came out.
Your tooth came out?
Yeah.
Right out?
My tooth came out.
Into a piece of chewing gum?
Yeah. It was in
Oh.
my mouth. I could feel it.
Oh
So-
my God. Whilst
know.
you're speaking to someone glamorous.
Whilst I'm speaking to the editor of Cosmopolitan, my tooth came out of my mouth. It wasn't one right at the back.
Right.
I mean, it was
The front one.
sort of medieval farmhand
Brilliant.
location-wise.
And did it have like a root and you're holding it all sort of
Yeah,
red and...
big ugly roots. Yeah. And to make matters even better, it was a crown, I think. So there was a little silver cane on the end of it.
Oh, okay.
So I could feel my tooth in my mouth, and I thought, as she was talking, I thought, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do. This is the editor of Cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
I'm going to open my mouth and be like Shane McGowan.
Well, can I say that at least it went into your mouth, because the worst thing is when you give someone a big cheesy smile and then one of your teeth drops out.
I know, this is true. So I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I need to remove the tooth
You could
from
still
my
style
mouth.
this out. You're still at the styling out. There's a possibility of styling out that your teeth are falling out.
Oh, you think? It's quite hard.
It's possible.
Yeah, but the editor of
Just swallow it
Cosmopolitan...
like old chewing gum. Just...
Do you know how much crowns cost?
No.
They're expensive.
Oh, I know how much real crowns cost. I wear them around the house all the time. But you mean dental crowns, so...
I've just thought, what
You
a
never know
great...
with Emily, do you? It could be actual crowns.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, what a great autobiography title. Do you know how much crowns cost?
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
By the way, it's the Frank Skinner show, but Frank's not here this morning. What were you going to say, Al?
I was going to say Emily Dean is doing a fine job of hosting the show, considering her mishap.
Completely toothless.
Yeah.
Considering I'm a
It's a
toothless
somewhat
old
toothless
hag.
performance.
I mean, I'm not entirely toothless, but I've
No.
shown you the gap,
But
and it's significant.
One came out mid-conversation with someone glamorous for anybody who's just joined. That's, I mean, that's the worst thing that could happen. Like, if you were speaking to some of the people I know that, you know, they've got gappy teeth and...
Comics, in other words.
Yeah, and the northern.
Yeah.
You know, it would be fine. But this glamorous lady that's cosmopolitan or something.
yeah,
I don't think she is
cosmopolitan editor.
cosmopolitan. She,
Yeah.
she probably is.
I know what you mean. I mean, I miss and love our Supreme Leader, But
Is that Frank?
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say Supreme Leader? Is that cultural
that's what
appropriation
I'm
from the
calling
North
him now.
Koreans?
Well, he is actually our Supreme Leader.
Right.
What I would say, though, is if that happened in front of Frank, I don't think I'd feel shame.
Oh, right, yeah.
I'd think Frank might think, oh, it's a Tuesday, your teeth fell out.
Yeah.
No offence, but editor of Cosmopolitan, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm thinking, what do I do? The tooth's in my mouth. I've got to speak. What am I going to do? How am I going to ditch the tooth? Please do.
About your attire. Were you wearing anything with like a chest pocket? Because
dare
that would
you.
have been handy, wouldn't it? Just spit it in there and carry on with your day.
Well,
Deal with it later.
I didn't spit it in there.
Oh.
But what I did do was pretend that I was spitting my gum into my hand.
Oh.
So I went,
And you spat gum and
I
tooth.
spat the tooth and the gum into the hand.
Very well done.
So then I had the
And is that
sticky
okay?
gum-tooth combo in one hand.
Yeah.
I thought I'm going to have to separate these two. These souls can't exist together.
No, it'd harden and, yeah, it wouldn't be nice.
Separated them. I think she noticed the Cosmopolitan editor. She didn't look me in the eye. She looked at me a bit strangely after that. Things weren't the same. I thought I can go to the bathroom and sort this out.
Mm-hmm.
Just as I thought that, Roisin Conaty comes over.
Oh, yeah.
Familiar with Roisin Conaty?
Mm-hmm.
No, her?
Comedian.
Very good comic and a lovely lady.
Nice.
She says, Emily. Luckily, I'm on cheek kissing terms with her, but I don't know her friend who extends her hand to shake it. I've got gum in one, tooth in the other.
Oh, no.
So I sort of,
Gum or tooth? You decide.
I ended up punching her hand.
Oh, no, you did a fist bump.
Roisin said, Emily, do you do fist bumps now? I said, yeah.
See, I'm so honesty compulsion. I would have had to say, I do, but only when my tooth has just fallen out and I've had to separate it from a lump of gum at the theatre.
But I've decided.
It's a bit like I did a gig this week and arrived, and the person came to meet me and said, "Oh, shall I get in the car to show you where it is?" And it'd been a long journey, and I'd had to break wind quite a lot of times.
Oh, no. Please.
So the young lady was like, "Shall I get in the car?" And I was like, "No,
Not yet.
no, you can't get in the car." So she was like, "Oh, okay." So she had to walk. Sorry, I realised that
And
afterwards.
all because the gentleman couldn't control himself.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Could I just say, if there are any dentists listening this morning, I mean,
In the London area.
yeah, I do have a dentist.
Come and knock on the door.
She's lovely, but I mean, I've got the crown. I've still got it.
You got it?
Well, I'm worried. I mean, they're expensive. We were having a slight debate off air about what they do cost.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, if you
How
have any,
much is a
how much
crown?
is a crown? Any
And-
members of the royal family?
And can it get replaced? Can it get put back in, the one that you had already?
Well, let's hope so.
Fingers crossed. I mean, I'd like to know that if there are any dental people.
When I host the show, I always do things like, how much does a crown cost? How much does it cost to build a wall? It's always money-based.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe you're
Have we had
money mad.
any outside world?
I have an email that I liked from my Friday night trawl where I looked through the ones that land on a Friday evening, and it's entitled Important Information.
Sorry, Al, to interrupt. I feel we should have a jingle for your Friday night trawl,
No,
but I
let's
don't
not
have one,
worry
so
about
I'm going to
that.
go with this. I like it. I like it. Because I like your trawl.
Important information. Hi all, can I ask you to not discuss anything important between 9 and 9:15, please? I take my daughter to work on Broad Street and I lose signal between Five Ways and the Ladywood sign like a Pied Piper. I nearly missed out on tyre regs last week. That was when we were discussing the important topic of the day last week.
Tyre
about
tread.
Tyre tread minimum depth. 1.6 millimetres for anybody that missed last week and is wondering. Last week, but luckily Emily recapped as a result of William the Brazilian. I think it was Willie-Anne.
Yes, it was, yeah.
She needs to be
Thank you.
recapped this week.
Oh, excellent work.
Trebon.
I don't want to get a cap. They're expensive. Is that what Simon Cat? Oh, no, he has veneers, doesn't he?
Does he?
Yeah, he has veneers.
Thought he walked funny.
It's all veneer nowadays.
What do you mean? He looks great. I would love to look like that.
So what do we think of this? The
go on.
idea that our readership / listenership are actually requesting us not to discuss anything important. I would have thought that's a message that didn't need sending.
Nothing important between 9 and 9:15.
I'll
Don't
do
worry,
it better
love.
for you,
It'll
Ruth.
be fine.
We'll do the whole 3 hours.
So we won't do the... So if the dentists who are going to send in the price of a crown, maybe don't do that between the hours of 9 and 9:15. Because we don't want to... I'm just itching, can you hear? That's what Frank does.
Maybe
You know
it's
what?
that
That
chair.
gentleman mentioned Broad Street.
Lady.
Oh, lady. Lady.
Although it might be a gentleman. It might
I
be
happen
Ruth
to know
the
that's in
gentleman.
Birmingham, and that's a central thoroughfare, and it's one of my favourite streets. Okay, I'm just
is.
telling you that as a piece of
It's
information.
good.
Yeah.
We
knowledge.
went to see Frank Starr get put there.
Is that where Frank Starr
Yeah,
is?
Frank Starr is there. on Broad Street.
Oh, I hope he's still there.
Maybe covered with vomit by now.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Well, you've lit up the switchboard with your how much does a crown cost and can one be reused if you got it in your handbag?
I think Frank would be
Texting.
so proud of me.
I think so.
The work I'm doing this morning.
982 has suggested, Dear Emily, crowns in London are indeed expensive. They're generally a lot less out in the wilds. I'm a
Peace of the Wild.
private dentist in Wolverhampton, and we charge up
I'm a
to
private dancer.
about £550, depending on what type of crown you have. Emax crowns. I love a bit of detail.
I'm changing that to crazy prices.
Emax crowns are beautiful and are all porcelain. I like the fact he loves his job, this person. Bonded
passion.
crowns with a metal core and porcelain covering are cheaper. Hope that helps. Terry.
Thanks, Terry. Do you know, I like the
Good
idea of
info,
having a
Terry.
dentist called Terry as well.
How do you like the idea of having a dentist in Wolverhampton?
I could live with that.
Okay. Terry, book her in.
Yeah.
Private dentist.
Well, hang on a
When can
second.
you do? When can you do?
Hang on a second. I mean, that's, it's... I think it's worse than I feared, better than I hoped.
Well, 295, a dentist from Harpenden, Michael, he's quoted you 50 to 250. So, I mean, that's closer.
£50?
Yeah, I think so.
250.
Crown costs vary hugely depending on the quality of the laboratory, but usually range from 50 to 250. So, frankly, Terry, you are mugging us off.
Hang on.
Has he mugged us right
He's
off?
mugged us right off.
Michael, would you mind texting again and just telling us whether or not you meant bonded crowns or
Yeah.
Emax crowns? Because
Yeah.
we know that.
Also,
no, I'm only
Al,
kidding.
I mean, I have to say, I am a bit worried. Was it Michael who suggested the £50 crown?
50 to 250 from Michael, yeah.
I've got concerns about the £50 too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Terry says it's porcelain bonded crowns, where Michael's are made of wood.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. The wooden tooth, not practical. Is it, really?
Oh, babyish.
Yeah, a bit babyish. It is a bit. I just think the wooden tooth. I mean, I'd rather have the gap at the moment.
Yeah, it's all right. The gap's not. I mean, it's not like visible.
Gap's very fashionable.
From the front.
I mean, traditionally in the front, between the front two, not big ones at the side. But you could bring that in, Em. Especially networking with the editor of Cosmopolitan.
I mean,
You might be surprised. It might be all gap tooth might be the new black.
do you know, ploughman chic is so hot right now.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Fancy myself a little bit of Gareth Richards' corner.
Oh,
What's
that's
going on
nice.
over there?
What do you want to know?
I don't
It's
know.
lovely to be here in the big city.
Good.
London.
I got the train in,
Oh, did you?
and I've got a system.
We get cars, don't mention that, Al. Embarrassing.
I walked.
Did you? Okay, it's just me that gets the car then.
Manchester.
Okay.
Yep.
Bit embarrassing.
Wow.
I got some really good boots.
And
Well, if you had... Sorry, Gar, I was going to say, with people with teeth like me, normally you have to walk. Didn't have cars in our day. Continue.
I have a system whereby, because at the train station, if you need to go to the bathroom at the train station, it will cost you.
Oh, yeah.
So I always try and use the train facilities just
clever.
before getting in.
That is clever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just like 10 minutes before arrival,
When you say that, what, you go on the train? Oh, before you're arriving, you try and use the train facilities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but
Rather than pay the full 20 pence at the station.
Yeah.
wow.
Waste not, want not, guys.
Wait till you hear
Waste
how
not,
much
want not.
pumpkin lattes are in Manchester. £4.25, I believe they're going for.
Scenes of chaos have broken out in this studio while the music was on because the girls were discussing, the millennials, they were saying, pumpkin latte, £4.
I
Can you believe
believe
it? I can't believe it, £4.25 Manchester.
Be cheaper
£4
to
in
buy
London.
your own pumpkin,
Yeah.
latte it,
Indeed.
spice it up.
I know.
It's an absolute outrage. I
But
remember when £4 a pint for lager came in and people were outraged. Now
Well,
people
Al,
are...
that's what the youth used to argue about. Now it's
Oh.
the pumpkin latte crisis, the great pumpkin latte
Different world, isn't it?
crisis
Different
of
world.
2018. Gareth,
blame
over to
Brexit.
you
Gareth,
in a regional
sorry.
train toilet.
So I go to the first toilet on the train, down the carriage,
Great call.
red, engaged. So I
Okay.
have to go to the next one, red, engaged.
Thanks for helpfully pointing out the colour.
Yeah, you know, the little colour.
Yes, I know.
And so I have to make my way back to the first one because I've run out of time now. And as I'm going, a lady gets up
Okay.
with a child who could walk. A toddler, not a
Okay.
baby.
Already I'm sensing you're leading the witness against her.
And they move so slowly, this woman. And I was getting angry with how slowly they are moving. Because I want to get to the toilet before the... and as
man's
we
got
arrive
needs.
at the toilet, the door opens, a man comes out, lady with child said, perfect timing.
They're
And
going.
goes into that toilet. Do you know what? I thought, no, not perfect timing.
Oh, no.
Not
Gareth?
perfect timing at all. Worst possible timing for me in the whole world.
Did you say anything?
He soiled himself. He just soiled himself. Like, your tooth came out and then ...
I urinated all over those
It's
people.
a weird team
Essentially-
show. I'm wondering what my bit's going to be.
What's falling apart? I mean, Gareth and I have turned into characters depicted on the Bayeux tapestry. What's wrong with us?
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
This is the Frank Skinner Show, by the way. I'm Emily Dean. I'm with Alun, Cochrane and Gareth Richards. You can follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. You can email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Hi there, boys. I've been using the word. We've used the word babyish a lot this morning. So I wonder if I should explain to our readers why I'm a fan of that particular word. It involves a bit of name dropping, but name dropping by proxy. It came when I encountered Mick Jagger's brother.
Mick Jagger's brother?
Yes, Chris Jagger.
Shout out to Chris.
Shout out to Chris if
Is he
you're
still
listening.
with us? I don't know.
I believe so. Well, I was sort of very young. I was a graduate trainee at the Sunday Times. Don't worry, this story isn't going down a dark place.
No, I love the story though. It is
Oh
brilliant.
no, we were doing an interview with him and Mick, and I
Right.
think we'd agreed to do it in the Q&A form, as opposed to what's called in the trade a write through.
Oh, nice.
You like a write through, which is when the
Okay.
text isn't broken up.
So it's sort of set out a bit like a script with the names and
You got it.
colons, or just integrated as part of the article.
You've got it in one, Gareth.
Well
if
done.
it was you interviewing Alan, it would say G.
Yeah.
Then it might say A. We suggested that, but Chris didn't want to do that. He said, I don't like it. I said, oh, so why not? He said, it's just a bit babyish.
Baby.
Yeah. So...
I love babyish,
Chris
though.
Jagger thinks the Q&A format is babyish,
It's
which
a
is,
bit babyish.
I can't argue with that.
That's a bit babyish this week, I think. Kylie Jenner. Babyish.
Kylie
So-
Jenner.
It's kind of a parable for our times. Kylie Jenner, who is, I believe, is she part of the sort of Keeping Up with the Kardashians show? Emily,
She
you need
is.
to slightly educate me on
Sure.
who is Kylie Jenner?
Sure. I can do that. She's the half-sister of Kim Kardashian.
Hang on. I'm just writing this down.
Okay.
Half sister.
Half-
Alan's drawing a family
Sister.
tree.
Is this a fraction? Is this like one of those questions at school? If you get a half And a
Half
three-quarter,
sister.
second cousin twice removed.
I feel like I'm doing one of those sort of learn Spanish, sorry. And half sister Kim Kardashian.
Okay.
So these are people who are documenting their lives in a number of ways, both on TV but also Instagram. So she
Very much in the public eye, aren't they?
yes, and she has a lively Instagram feed where she keeps everyone.
Please unpack.
What is it?
Can we please unpack that? There's a lot to unpack there. She has a lively Instagram
I enjoyed
feed.
that.
Ow. He's just described someone's
Lively.
Instagram feed as lively.
That is good.
I'm switching into my professional radio presenter
Tabloid
mode,
voice.
people. Yeah, to
No,
try
but
it,
it's
like-
not a Highland fling, for heaven's sake. It's
and
not a wedding in the Trossachs. Go on. So
Yes.
she's got a lively... When you say lively, do you mean
I
largely
mean, I think
naked?
she's quite no,
Regularly
actually, well, it seems to be
updated and-
mostly food.
Oh. I didn't
That I've
expect
seen so
that.
far on this. I'm sure
That is
there
what
are
Instagram is for,
saucy.
after all.
Saucy.
You think there's saucy
gone.
pics? I don't think
There
so.
might be
Wasn't
some
she a
saucy
child
pics.
star? So
Well, I don't think she had a choice
She's 21
in the matter.
now. 21.
21.
Okay. She is worth 900 million, we should say.
What?
Yes.
At 21?
Yeah.
God, that's better than I was doing. I probably don't need to tell you.
Well, I'll tell you, we're going to come back to this in a minute, but I'll tell you what she's got. A lively bank account.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We're talking about Kylie Jenner this morning, progeny of... What's her name? Is it Kris Jenner, Daisy? Asking the pumpkin latte correspondent in there.
Yeah, so there is. I mean, there are many things going on in the world, but I think this is the foremost controversy this week. That she's been caught in a lie.
She was.
So they've. Because the thing with Instagram is people
It's
have
lively.
access to evidence to check out your claims.
Right.
And so,
She's
you know,
not
if
gone
you
for job seekers allowance, has she? Because there's a lot of proof that she's got money on that Instagram feed.
She's not
A
like
lot
those
of
people
proof.
who are caught dancing in Greek bars on holiday.
Oh yeah, he's on disability benefits and he's gone on a pole dancing course.
They're always on holiday, the nanas, aren't they? Anyway.
No, it's much more serious than that.
What's
Got caught
happened?
in a new lie.
She said that she had tried. She said, last night I had cereal with milk for the first time.
Right.
Life-changing.
Okay.
So it's big news. She's claiming that at the age of 21, she had cereals with milk for the first time.
I think she's been listening to this show and she's heard us talking about how Michael Owen couldn't make a cup of tea until, I think,
Yeah.
last few months. And she's thought, I'm having that.
I like the way Gareth is referring to it as cereals, like it's some harvest festival. Do you remember whatever happened to Harvest Festival? Do
I
you
think
still
that's
get
still
that?
alive and
Yeah,
well
still
in
a
the...
thing.
Your children still have to. We used to have to. We never had anything like. All I could ever bring. I used to have to bring like bottles of strange liqueurs. We didn't have food like that in the house.
This wine is well past its best. We've had it in the cellar for some time and it's gone over, and so we think it should go to a good home.
We genuinely brought claret and things to the Harvest
Brilliant.
Festival. We didn't know what it was. My parents didn't understand. Anyway, as you were cereals.
The problem with this is people trawled back through her feed and found that in 2013 she had posted a picture of bran flakes with strawberries and blueberries with milk. The prosecution rests, Your Honour.
You know what I'm
Please
gonna...
look at Exhibit A.
Well, you know...
Bran flakes, milk, blueberries.
Strawberries.
Liar! Jacques!
Is it lying, though?
Well, I'll tell you what it is, Al.
Lies make baby
It's,
Jesus cry.
I'll tell you what it is. It is fake. Oh, come on, that's
Fake
good.
move.
Yeah, I'm really happy with
Oh,
that.
I like that.
Sounds
I
like
would
she's being
say,
milked.
I would say, is this a lie? Come on, let's be kind to the woman. Was she doing? So we should say the original picture looked. Some people have said it's yogurt.
Oh, maybe.
Okay.
Have they?
Some people have said she was just doing it for the gram.
Oh,
Are you
the
familiar with
first
that
one.
concept, Gareth?
Right, yeah.
Yes, for Instagram. Well, that would be lying. That was claiming that she is
All right, God.
hyperbolizing. Like, maybe trying to make her life seem more of note than it is by claiming she'd never had milk before. Which I think she thought would blow people's minds.
See, I don't think that's lying so much as misremembering. Surely, like, if you've
Yes,
had,
I mean, I
cereal with milk 5 years ago and then you have cereal with milk again, I think you're entitled to go, yeah, it's my first
Yeah, but
time.
no
You're
one-
sort of rounding it up to the first time.
No one has milk anymore.
Don't
This is the
they?
thing. No, milk is a thing of the past. Do
Oh,
you,
see,
do these
this-
young people have milk?
Yeah, I stayed with friends and there was the offer of oat drink.
Oh,
Oat drink.
What's
disgusting.
oat drink?
Like a white fluid
Oh,
made from oats
this is gross.
in lieu of milk.
I can't drink that with my toothless issues.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Kylie Jenner, Cereal Gate.
Yes.
I
Let's
didn't,
call it.
I didn't know that, Bill Gates' child.
Can I just can I give a shout out to the quite high number of texters that have gone for the serial offender pun?
Yeah.
Aw,
Tony and Hitchin.
I love our readers.
Ian Angle,
Serial
there's-
Liar.
That's so
Serial
good. Do you know what
liar.
they're going to get
There's a
for
few.
that?
There's a few.
That's my
Fake news.
approving fake news jingle. Yeah, so
Yes.
is she a liar?
Well, she claimed, for recap, she claimed that she said, I always liked cereal dry. I never bothered to put milk.
See, that's the bit that I hate
Too
about
much
her.
bother.
I
I'm not
actually,
bothered.
I dislike people that have dry cereal, and I'm including my own progeny in that. So
Wow.
my kids don't always have milk, and I just think it's so weird.
Do you?
Weirdos!
Yeah,
If
it's a
you're
bit.
going to eat cereal, which I don't think you should, but if you are gonna, I think you should have 1 part cereal to 2 parts, maybe even 3 parts milk.
What, floating in it?
Yeah, really cold milk.
I
It should be
disagree.
majority
I
milk.
disagree.
Very
I-
rule-bound.
I think.
Yeah.
I think I don't think the milk should lift the cereal off of the bottom of the bowl. I think it should just be up to, so there's still cereal above the line of
I know
the
what
water
you're
line.
saying.
Depends on the density of the cereal that you've purchased.
Any
doesn't it?
cereal
It does, but
experts?
I don't think it should be
let's know.
floating.
Can I say
Sorry,
something?
Alan.
I'm not all
sorry,
of it.
Alan.
I'm not
I have to
talking
say
all of it.
I have to say it. I don't think it should be floating.
But it should be
Do
covered.
you know what? It's
2
all,
to 1 is
Covered in
too.
milk.
I'm sorry.
Covered in milk. Yeah, and they're bickering about cereal.
I love it when you boys argue about cereal.
I love it when we
Alan,
discuss ratios.
dry cereal. I'm with you on that. It is a little bit. I'll get a job sometime next year.
Oh,
I mean, I just worry.
Decadent.
There's something about the man in the boxer shorts sat there eating cereal out of the packet. I'm not a fan of that look. I do think. I don't know. I'm going to try and defend her slightly here.
No, good, do.
I think it was.
and me.
Okay.
I'm happy to.
I think it might have been for the gram. I don't think she ever had that. In the original post of the cereal that you're talking about, you're offering forth as evidence.
Right.
She says something like, he spoils me,
He looks
or
after
he looks
me, or-
after
yeah,
me.
He
something
keeps
like
me
that.
healthy, to quote the exact word.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
We
okay.
forget that you're a fan of her lively feed.
The forensic witness is in. So he said what? He keeps me healthy.
He keeps me healthy.
Oh, but that's
Which
a
I
bit-
think if I was going to argue for her defence,
That was
this
it.
would be the crux of it. He keeps me healthy.
All right, so
Is she
he's made...
personalising the bran flakes?
No, she's saying someone else has made that for her.
Yeah.
So can I say, it is entirely possible, she took a picture of it, said, oh, isn't it nice? He keeps me healthy. He made me bran flakes with strawberry. And then she tipped the whole thing away. It's possible
Yeah, yeah.
she never drank. There's no pictorial evidence of her
That's a good point.
eating the milk.
Do you know what I don't like? I don't like he keeps me healthy, because it feels like what she was trying to say is he keeps me regular. And I don't like that on a lively Instagram feed.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
So we're talking about Kylie.
Give it a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. We've been talking about Kylie Jenner and whether she didn't lie about having eaten cereal before. I mean, it's kind of it's quite an innocent lie in the grand scheme of things, Gareth. But
Yeah.
you seem
Yes,
to
you
feel
could argue there's other things going on in the world with more
Other?
import.
Oh,
other lies that should be delved into.
We've
but
all
let's-
told the
pass them
food
by.
lie. We've all told the food-based lie.
Yeah.
I might have gone to the bathroom in a glass once and pretended to my babysitter, Mrs. Lyon, it was apple juice.
Oh, no.
I did.
Did she drink the apple juice?
No, she wasn't an idiot. She said, I know what this is.
Oh, did she?
And you said, no, it's apple juice.
No, she knew full well what I was up to.
That's a mean prank that you were going for.
I know, I think I was a bit of a sociopath looking back. Yeah.
Has it haunted you? Because I am haunted by the lies of my childhood.
Oh, yeah.
I find myself...
Go on.
I once got very upset. I got upset. I used to get upset when I got told off at school and
Right.
cry.
Yeah.
And it was too much. And they were like, people would be... Yeah, exactly.
Babyish.
It was babyish. And the teacher would be like, is there anything else going on that's why you're this upset? And then that gives you a reason to
Yeah,
come up
totally.
with something, doesn't it?
Yeah, I heard
Oh, I love the is there anything else going
So-
on? Get out.
So I thought...
Love it.
I thought, and I might have said this on the show before, readers will,
Hey,
can
that's
look
fine.
back at the feed. And I said, yes. So is there anything else going on? And I go, yes, my grandfather's died. Now, I can't say that was a full lie because he had died
10 years earlier.
long before I was born.
So what did they say?
Well, they gave me the sympathy. They didn't ask for a time of death.
Yeah.
So
That was their first mistake.
Want to see the paperwork?
They didn't ask for paperwork. They just gave me the sympathy
If I
that
was-
went with that.
If I was a primary school teacher, I would ask to see death certificates because I think that scam goes on a lot. The old
yeah.
grandparent
sure.
switcheroo.
Yeah, and yeah.
I lied one. I lied a lot when I was a child. I said my dad was the film critic Barry Norman, which was quite. And the reason I did
Impossible
it.
to verify.
Yeah,
Well, the reason I did it was because everyone would say, "So what's your dad done then?" I don't understand. Is he like, and they didn't understand because I'd have to say, "Well, he interviews poets and philosophers
yeah.
and weird people and prisoners, people in prisons, car thieves and prisoners." That was my Fleetwood Mac
Quite
song.
wide-ranging interviews.
Yeah, he just did weird, serious things. So I thought, you know what? Someone finally asked me, and I was so sick of their disappointed response. I just lied. I said, "Oh, it's Sir Barry Norman." So that he's not
Brilliant.
quite famous enough that I can get caught out. But then, of course, they said, "Why is he called Barry Norman and you're called Emily Dean?" And I said, "Oh, he changed his name,
Nice.
but we didn't take the name."
And to keep on the charade, you were constantly eating pickled onions.
Well, do you know what? Lovely Barry Norman reference there.
Was
But
he eating pickled onions? I
He's
don't
got
remember.
a brand of pickled onions.
He did
Oh,
have. I
yeah,
think he's
did
no.
have.
Can he?
I
Jen
did not-
said he was a film critic. Can we check if he's with us? He's not still
Oh,
alive
yes.
at
Oh,
85.
I said he had.
Oh, did he? He's not still alive at 85.
But I think the pickled onions are still around.
I didn't know that he was a pickled onion guy.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that he
Yeah,
wasn't my
baby.
father because I started to actually believe. I felt a bit. I know it's weird, but when I would watch film 79, I had slight abandonment issues, to be honest with you.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a message in about your crown, Emily. 165 has texted.
Oh.
You should be glad you've not got to have an implant. My husband broke his front
How
tooth
dare you?
and had to have an implant. No change
Personal?
from £3,000.
Shut up.
I'm assuming that's a typo and they meant to put a dot and so it was 30 quid really.
I don't know why I'm playing that. It's to
dramatic.
indicate and being a pirate.
It's a dramatic
Maybe.
amount.
Yeah. That is... Yeah, it needs that level of drama, Hal.
Yeah.
3K.
£3,000.
I haven't got that knocking around.
Also,
Oh, yeah.
Anoop has, on 550
Yeah.
has ploughed in and said, I'm also a dentist in Wolverhampton. I'm with Terry on this one. Buy cheap, buy twice. Regards. So he's saying
What?
go for the higher quote.
I don't want to buy twice. I'm not quite Shane McGowan yet.
Yeah, just get the
We
full
should
lot done.
say he's had his teeth all done and they look absolutely lovely.
Do they?
Yeah, they really do. I'd say, I mean, they're first class, those teeth. We've been talking about lies this morning, haven't we?
Yes.
In honour and celebration of Kylie Jenner, who's been lying about her Instagram. Misremembering as to whether she'd eaten cereal.
I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt.
We should get people to text in.
I don't think I should, really, because she is one of those monsters that eats dry cereal.
Yeah, we don't like that.
My gran... Once put marmalade on top of a Weetabix and ate it in front of me.
Oh...
I felt dehydrated just watching it.
Now,
Shortly afterwards, she was putting her home. I don't think the two are unconnected.
I love the ending to that story.
It's a
poignant ending.
I went a little bit Alan Bennett again, didn't I? Shortly afterwards, she was putting her home.
And then a rather unsavoury character turned up with driving gloves.
I've got driving gloves.
I know. I realised that as soon as I said it.
Love them.
Can I say also, it would be nice for our readers to text in, wouldn't it? Sort of white
With
lies.
their lies.
Yeah. Text us in on 8 12 15. I mean, I'd like you to stick mainly to white lies. Childhood lies, should we say that, do you think?
Yeah.
Childhood lies is good?
Babyish lies.
Babyish lies.
I don't really do adult ones. You know, everybody says...
That's not what I've heard, mate.
Everyone says, what lies do you use for being late or something? I'm so lazy that I don't really tell lies like that. I will just say to the person, oh, sorry, I'm late. I set off too late. That's the level of... Or it could be that I've just got so little imagination that I can't come up with anything else, like, oh, yeah, I tripped up or whatever. Is that a thing that people do?
Well, I don't know. I mean, bear in mind, I couldn't even tell the truth about a loose tooth
you might be the
floating
wrong
around
person
my
to
mouth.
ask.
Right.
But I do think there's something specific about the childhood lie, though.
Yeah.
Because you're bad at it. Do you know what I mean? You haven't learnt the art of lying at that age. I had a friend, I went to a house, and the mum used to say to me, I wanted to show off that I was sophisticated and grown up. She'd ask about
As a child?
Funny that.
You had weird wants there.
Very strange. No, I wanted everyone to think I was very adult.
Right.
So she would say, oh, what do you like? And I'd say, I love mushrooms. Because I knew other children liked them. I'd say prawns, that's my favourite. Once she said, oh, do you like liver? Challenging me, throwing down the gauntlet. I said, I love liver. My mum cooks it for my birthday. So next, why did I add that on? There's always too much information with a liar.
Yeah, they overcompensate by giving you extra information.
Wow, I'll tell you what she gave me, extra liver.
Oh,
When I went round there, I gagged, I retched, my eyes watered. She knew I was a liar.
But you got it down, yeah.
Oh, I got that down me. I needed to... I didn't want her to think I was a liar, for heaven's sake.
That's disgusting. That's more disgusting than marmalade on a Weetabix.
Do you know what? Liver's hot. It took me about 90 minutes to eat that piece of liver.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We're talking about sort of lies we told when we were kids. You know, I don't, and I'd like you to text in on 8 12 15. I mean, don't tell us if you lied to your wife about what was going on with that female colleague of you. Yeah, babyish lies.
Babyish
lies. We want this morning. Yeah, I told everyone my father was Barry Norman. So those are that's how I rolled.
I once
Gareth said, well, we should say, in case anyone wasn't listening earlier, you said your grandfather had died.
Yes, which he had, but before I was born.
You never met him.
I think I was over it.
So it's kind of like you being upset about Abraham Lincoln dying.
Yeah.
Isn't it, to be honest?
I'm quite excited about getting old enough to be able to lie. I think there's a sort of...
Just you then.
I think there's a chapter of life, plus 70 years old, where people can say stuff and no one's going to challenge you on it because it's from so long ago. Like, my father-in-law just introduced the fact that he'd done boxing when he was a kid. And even his own children were like, hang on, you've never mentioned that you did boxing before. I think there's something joyful about that.
Yeah,
like,
and you're accusing him of
when
lying.
I'm in my 70s and 80s,
It's your father-in-law.
I'm absolutely certain.
You're accusing your father-in-law of being a liar.
I'm certain that it's made up.
Wow.
He might have walked past a boxing gym or tried on some gloves or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that he did boxing. But, when I'm an old man...
He's going to knock your lights out.
I'm going to have been a karate champion.
Calling his father-in-law a liar on Absolute Radio this morning.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to that chapter. I mean, I didn't challenge him on it because I mainly thought, I can't wait to be old enough for nobody to challenge the stuff I say.
Well, I think you are challenging him on it now, and I think the only way to find out is I think we should put on a boxing match between Alun and...
It's fine. He's an old man. I'd wipe the floor with him. But
wow, with his boxing training, you might be surprised.
he might not. He might not go up for that because it is.
What music would he have on his way to the ring? We have Last of the Summer Wine. I'd love that.
Father and son.
Yeah, that'd be good. Sorry, you were saying something. Were you saying you had another lie?
Well, worst thing I ever did. There was this kid in my class
The
who
factually worst thing you've ever done can be discussed on breakfast radio. That's
Is it
pretty
worse
good.
than losing a tooth in front of the editor of Cosmopolitan?
The worst thing I'm going to come clean about, that I'm not still currently lying about.
Yeah.
I once put a drawing pin on a classmate's chair
Why did you do that?
to cause him physical harm.
To pierce his flesh with a spike. Emily looks horrified.
That's how I feel about that.
Well, I think
it's mean.
There's a cartoon aspect to it, isn't it?
There is,
Where it
yeah.
seems like, it's a bit like putting a banana skin out. You're not aware of...
When you say banana skin, the drawing pin is it's potentially
bad.
quite
and
damaging.
I fixed it in place with blue tack as well.
Brilliant.
That's bad, isn't it?
100 of them as well.
This is where things are getting a little more dark than I anticipated.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
It's the Frank Skinner Show.
Yes,
on
that's
Absolute
right.
Radio. I'm Emily Dean. I'm joined by Gareth Richards this morning.
Hello?
I'm joined by Alun Cochrane this morning.
What's up?
He's sticking with that. It's not going anywhere.
Really?
We've got a lot going on this morning. We've had text-ins about how much will my new replacement crown cost me.
Yep.
We've had... we're also talking about babyish lies.
Yeah.
So silly lies you told when you were a child. Here's one I told. I was living in Australia. That's not a lie, by the way. I did live in Australia.
Thanks.
And our neighbour, who was called Gwen, she didn't have children. But Gwen?
Shout out to Gwen.
I think, I don't know if Gwen's still alive at 105.
All right.
But Gwen, by the way, can I just say I am allowed to do an Antipodean accent? I have the passport to prove it, okay?
Good for you.
If there's any
All right.
concerns about that, I'm allowed. Gwen asked me, I was looking through in her garden, and Gwen asked me, she said, do you grow any plants at school? What do you grow at school? I didn't know how to answer that, because this was Australia in the 70s.
Well, it's a yes or no question, Emily.
And we barely read at school in Australia in the 70s. Grow things? Are you kidding me? Your own, maybe. So
What did you say?
I didn't sort of understand. I didn't come from that sort of a family. I didn't understand people growing things and plants. So you know what I said? I said, yes, we grow potatoes. And you know what she said to me? Mm-hmm. Don't lie.
Oh, no.
She called me on it.
Excellent.
I could never spend time with her again.
Oh, that's a shame.
So tell us if you have any lies similar to that.
Yes, I mentioned that I once put... Well, I didn't get to the lying bit.
Go on.
I put a drawing pin on a classmate's chair.
Ouchie.
Which is on the psychopath test, I believe.
The problem was he didn't sit on it, but a boy in the next class actually sat on it. And I think it did puncture the skin. So
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
forgotten I'd done it.
All right.
And then I was called into the teacher's office.
I'm not surprised.
I walked in. She had the drawing pin on the blue tack on the end of her finger.
Giving her a sort of a Cruella de Vil
Yeah.
vibe.
and pointing at me as if to accuse me with the very weapon I'd used.
Oh, dear.
I like the idea of her doing the setup before you walked into the office. I'll
Yeah.
just put this blue tack here.
Yes, to see how I reacted.
How did you react?
I emptied my bowels.
Oh, God.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, she said, "Does this mean anything to you?" I was like, let me think. No, I don't know. And I just lied.
You stole it out,
Told
yeah.
a lie.
Good man.
And to this day, I still feel bad about it.
Dear.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Shepherd. I'm
Mrs.
sorry.
Shepherd.
I lied. Yeah.
She
sounds a bit biblical. I wouldn't lie
She
to
had
her.
a difficult flock with you there, didn't she?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
What?
I love that work you're doing.
Thanks very much.
Any readers' lies? Have our readers been telling any lies? They strike me as quite an honest bunch on the whole.
431 has messaged, for whatever unknown reason, I thought it would be cool to tell my teacher at the age of 7 that I didn't have a middle name, just to be different from the other kids in the class. To this day, my friends still think that's true. It's not. My middle name is Daniel.
I like the idea that you think you'll come across as some Kurt Cobain character because you don't have a middle name.
The teacher's going to be at home thinking, phew, that's cool not having a middle name.
The producer just revealed a lie that she told. It's not to do with, it's nothing unprofessional, fortunately. But she said that she took was it a jumper, Daisy, back to a shop, and when the woman refused, she said, it's for my sister, she's housebound. I mean, that's an extraordinary thing to say. And I suspect it's the sort of lie that works because it's vague and it sounds vaguely medical, but it's non-specific.
And didn't you say to me that it was your identical twin? Because it was like...
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I fancy going over to Cochrane Corner. Hot Dad Corner.
I wish. I
wish.
I'll tell you what, I'm 43, as I think we've already mentioned on the show, and I'm still making some fundamental, really obvious life mistakes. Like, I've made such a cliched mistake this week that I can't quite believe. I went to do a massive food shop, you know, like...
I'm glad you said food shop.
It's not like Gareth's story.
I just thought it was going into Gareth's story.
No. I went to do a massive food shop, you know, like a proper... we've got children, and so it was a food shop.
Don't do the Ocado delivery, no?
Nah.
Why not?
Too dear.
Okay.
What shop were you going to?
I think this one was in a Tesco's, but I do move it around. I sometimes go to an Asda, depending on where I am that day. No, not price range, just where I am.
Yeah,
but I went really hungry, which I think is one of the most obvious things. You know, when people go, you don't go do a food shop hungry.
Yeah.
And so I'm in there, and I'd exercised, and then I'd gone straight to the food place. So I'm walking around. I got a terrible blood sugar crash. My wife had texted me with some stuff that she knows that we need off the kitchen board. You know, when you write it up on the board.
Yeah.
And so I've got a photograph of it. I'm starving, and I'm just putting everything into. I bought one of everything off every shelf in the whole of a giant supermarket.
Carbs?
Wow.
Oh, loads of carbs. I mean, my daughter has gone to pack lunches for school, so I put so many carbs in that it's just unseemly. Like, the basket was full of bread. I phoned my wife in a panic halfway through, like a real basic bloke that can't do a food shop, going, I'm not sure I've got the right stuff. I bought...
it's very man in a TV ad, that, isn't it?
And I hate being a basic bloke because I think I've got some level of pride. And I bought... this was another thing that I can't believe I bought. I bought sandwich boxes for myself. I bought actual...
What's that then?
You know, like
What's
you
a
take a
sandwich
packed
box?
lunch.
No, I've never had a packed lunch.
Oh my God, I'll show you it in a minute.
Do you know, I don't think I've ever had a packed lunch.
Oh,
I must have. I've been given
I've got it
one
with me.
by
I'll show you my
people.
new sandwich box.
I've never made a packed lunch.
You ever had lunch?
I've become so boring about my packed lunches.
Yeah.
I've been bringing food on the road with me, and it's a compartmentalised little lunchbox. It's great. It's really, really good.
Okay.
I bought 2 different versions of that in the same food shop. I hadn't gone there for that.
Yeah.
I bought a big jar of coffee that was in a cardboard box because it came with a Nescafe presentation mug. That's what I bought.
Lost your
God,
mind.
crazy. This guy's like Liberace.
I saw it in one of those middle aisles, and I thought, well, I need a jar of coffee, and I could do with a big mug since my Sport Direct one smashed, so I'll have that. And so far, I've not had tea in it. I've only had coffee because it feels wrong to drink tea out of a Nescafe branded mug.
How was that to do with you being hungry, though?
That was just panic.
You're going to eat
That was
the
his
mug.
panic
No, it was panic.
Right.
I bought you know the food that is perishing, and so they put yellow stickers on it. I got a yellow.
All of that.
I got a reduced. I got all of that. I hit the frozen stuff in the car before
What
driving
was the
home.
perishable good that you bought?
A chicken and ham pie reduced, and I
Okay.
ate that in the car, covered in crumbs. Drove home.
Do you know what I like about this?
Disgusted at myself.
Is that you basically bought some coffee, perishable good sandwich, and a plastic Tupperware box. And to you, that was an Elton John
Oh
splurge.
no, I bought everything else in the shop as well.
Did you?
Yeah, I got a weird anxiety at the counter because I realised that I didn't have any bags.
I love that chocolate bar.
And I
though.
thought, I'm going to have to pay for plastic bags. And she went, oh, we haven't got any of the cheap ones. And I'm like, oh, God, more money.
Gareth, you know what happened there? He so put all the items into his pocket. And he carried them home.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
And we've had some lies in.
Have we?
226. Dear GA and DME, when I met my wife, I told her my middle name was Maurice. Or maybe Morris.
Morris, I think.
No, I like.
I
hope it's Maurice.
Some people call him that.
Well, that was yeah.
And when we were signing the wedding register, she panicked and blurted out that they had missed off my middle name. I told her I didn't actually have one, to which she disappointingly told me that I shouldn't be lying already. 22 years on, we are still married, Nick and Lincoln.
Oh,
that's
What a
good.
happy ending.
I really like that.
So good relationships can be built on lies.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the message of that.
Good lesson.
But that's a great lie, though. Pretending to be
7.
called Morris. Do you go Morris or Maurice? I mean, I like an E.M. Forster. Maurice.
I would go Morris,
Okay.
but I'm a very plain-speaking individual. I try and avoid all...
I love that about you. You speak as you find.
I'm a Maurice man.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
781, I went for a run when staying in Bournemouth recently. Get you. And
I remember.
Big wow.
And it was really hot, so I ran in the sea
In
for a quick
Bournemouth?
swim to cool down. Then realised my car key was in my pocket. When the car wouldn't start, I had to call the AA. I couldn't admit my stupidity, so without thinking, I said a waiter had dropped a bottle of wine over my bag in a restaurant. Worst lie ever. So weird. That's from Bryony.
I mean, it was so specific. The
like
waiter,
that.
the restaurant. And that's where she's,
much.
you've got to be careful with these lies because then you've got there's too much data retention involved in that lie. Which restaurant? You've then got to commit that, haven't you, to your memory?
Yeah, it's too much.
And that happened in Bournemouth, where I live, of course. And I did actually hear about that. That was talk of the town.
Big news in Bournemouth, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That week.
I love where I live, of course.
I just realised that we played
Go
a
on.
4-minute long song and I didn't use that opportunity to show you my compartmentalised lunchbox. You heard.
Oh, what a shame.
Keep things nice, guys. Keep things nice. Honestly,
What's it like?
You're going to show it
great.
to us in the
It's
next break.
compartmentalised. I will show
Really?
you it to you in the next song.
Something to look forward to.
But this is,
Can you,
this is a problem.
Can you check it out first, please?
I am
Can't
so
wait.
boring about this that I caught myself showing it to some people that I worked with earlier this week, and they're all around, and they were really excited by it. They were going, "Oh, that's a good lunchbox, isn't it?" And I was going, "Oh, it's great! Look at this compartment and look at this." And then I realised, oh, these are people that are in the industry that I'm in. Perhaps I should be a bit more rock and roll and interesting, rather than showing them my compartmentalised Sistema lunchbox.
That's your shtick now. That's what people
£5,
associate you
Tesco's.
with, is a compartmentalised lunchbox. So are you going to show us your lunchbox during that? I can't believe I've just said that
You said it.
on Absolute Radio.
It's not a euphemism.
I'm so sorry.
It is a literal lunchbox.
You led me
We'll
towards
put a picture
it.
up of it on the gram if you want.
You
it's
led
really
me
grammable.
towards it.
We'll tell you all about Alan's lunchbox after the next
Really
song. And tell you
grammable.
about the compartments.
Oh, please help me.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I had a lovely surprise during that last musical interlude. Alun Cochrane, what happened, Gareth?
He showed us his lunchbox.
Oh, come on.
Genuinely useful.
Frank, I'm
bit of
really
kit.
sorry about
Delighted
this.
to announce that it is pink with purple trim.
It was.
Tis.
Come on.
I'm sorry.
Come on.
No, but
It was a
My daughter has a light
lovely.
blue one because
lunchbox.
we are not playing by society's rules.
No,
yeah?
exactly.
Yeah, guys.
He was so proud of it.
Take
though.
that, patriarchy.
We
Actually,
put
she
it.
got hers first, and I did suggest a swap, but she said no.
We put it on the socials, Al.
Yeah, it's on social media if you want to see it. It is pink with purple trim.
It's
And then
great.
he, and then
it's good.
yeah.
Looks pricey.
£5.
He was very excitable
That's
with
not
all his
bad.
food.
I also
wasn't he?
got another one, a different lunchbox that has a top tray that
more
has
lunchbox
cutlery in it.
music.
There's more.
More
In that
lunchbox.
one, I put macaroni cheese that I'd made the other day, and I took it with me to my gig, and I ate it in my car.
But how much can you get in there?
Oh, quite a substantial portion.
Okay.
So,
Okay, Gareth.
big news this week. Helena Bonham Carter is to play
yes.
Princess Margaret on The Crown, new series of The Crown.
I love the crown. That a grand.
Of course
That's
you
expensive.
do. You do love a crown.
Yeah.
She's been fully researching the role.
I read
and
about this.
deeper than you might think, ladies and gentlemen. She went to see a sidekick.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Sidekick.
She went to see a sidekick, Robin.
Yeah. We
a
should
sidekick
say.
to go and talk to actual Princess Margaret from the
That's
other
right.
side, and has been doing research that way, straight out of the horse's mouth.
I think we should do
Shouldn't
this
say
as a
horse's
section
mouth
of the
with a
show
royal
each
family.
week
No.
called Mumbo Jumbo News now.
You're not a clairvoyant fan, Al?
No.
Okay. What about Eileen Drury?
I prefer stuff like rationalism.
Oh,
Is it
I
an
was going to
ism?
say rations. That's Frank. He's not here this week.
I don't like that.
No, I mentioned Eileen Drury. I mean, younger, the Gen Zer in the corner won't know Eileen Drury, but she
No, I
was.
don't.
I do. I know exactly who you mean.
Do you? Well, maybe you care to explain. I should preface this by saying Clive Silas, who's one of our regulars, has got in touch this morning, and I enjoyed what he had to say.
Oh, yeah.
He said, I love it when Divine Miss M hosts because it's like absolute Radio 90s without waiting an hour. Because I am
good.
quite 90s.
Yeah, well, your
I'm
reference
proud.
to Eileen Drury.
It's very 90s. Explain,
Very
please,
90s.
Alan Cochrane.
Eileen Drury was was she a psychic or a mysticist that Glenn Hoddle employed to keep the morale up of the England squad?
Didn't work.
It did not work. No,
No.
it didn't even keep up Glenn Hoddle's personal morale, did it? He lost
No.
his job.
She had what I call the psychic black hair colour. You know, they like to dye
Oh,
their hair
yeah,
that
yeah.
particular shade of black.
Goth black.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know what or who her psychic is, but she seems to have. Did she say it's worked? Was she happy
Yes,
with it?
well,
Oh, yeah.
the
job they did?
the feedback is that she's Princess Margaret said she's doing a great job,
Yeah.
which is good
Really?
because it would be awful if you were a sidekick and said, "Well, I'm sorry to say she's livid."
Apparently, Princess Margaret said you're doing a great job, and Helena Bonham Carter said, "How do you know? It's not even been TX'd yet." That's transmitted for anybody not in the biz. And Princess Margaret's ghost, if you like, said it's fine. I've seen the rushes. Some more.
Very specific. Well, also, yes, because the exact words, I think I read that she said Princess Margaret gave very positive feedback.
Yeah.
I didn't think spirits went for that sort of David Brent office speak much. Your proposal moving forward. I don't think ghosts talk like that. Hey, what do you think Princess Margaret's wearing? You know, Frank always talks about what the ghosts wear.
What they're wearing on the other side.
Is she in full ermine, do you think?
Good question. What is Princess Margaret's ghost wearing?
I love that.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We're talking about Princess Margaret on Absolute Radio this morning.
Well, we're technically talking about Helena Bonham Carter, HBC, and how she has been causing a séance, if you like.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like a pun on
Like causing a scene.
Causing a
Is it like
scene.
causing a scene? Yes.
Yeah.
It was like
I
causing
see.
a scene, but he did it with seance.
Hashtag incredible
So-
séances.
Yeah. Oh, love
I mean, I
that.
could do loads of
Nice.
them, really.
Okay.
But maybe
But
not.
162, Jeff has texted, excellent stuff on Mumbo Jumbo News. I think it's going to run and run.
Yeah.
Do you think all the dead clairvoyants are in the ghost version of Judge Rinder being sued by all the dead people they misquoted? It's possible.
Yeah, sort of looking back at their Instagram feed
Do you know what? I don't want to get on the wrong side of anyone in the spirit world.
on the wrong side.
It's fine.
On the other
fine with it.
side.
Side.
I'm fine with it.
Oh, I don't like ghosts when they're angry. I've had terrible problems with
Have
mine.
you?
Yeah, you
I
may
think-
wonder where Helena
Helena Bonham Carter.
Sorry, I had a
HBC.
stroke.
I just stick with HBC.
HBC,
Yeah.
where she found this psychic. It was okay. She was already around her house because she was having it deghosted.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
Which I don't know any psychics, But I'm guessing that
What's wrong
they're a
with you?
bit like builders where they hate that. Like suddenly an extra job being stuck onto the job that they've quoted for.
You think?
You know, like if you ask a builder, oh, can you do a garden wall? And then when they're there, you go, actually, could you do my front path as well? They're like, oh, it's not in the quote. It's not in the quote, mate. Like, do you think the psychic then goes, no, the quote I gave you was purely for de-ghosting. It wasn't for speaking to... No. We're going to have to talk money.
Well, do you know what, Al? I was at an exorcism once. I'm sorry.
No way.
Well, it was my godmother's house.
All right.
No, she lived next door, and
She's trying to get you to leave.
She had her house exorcised.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a standard exorcism, really. No prizes for guessing who I was in that. But yeah, it's we weren't allowed to be near because it's something to do with poltergeists.
Right.
That's what they told us.
Right.
I mean, everyone's had that in their
Like
lives.
when the medical staff step outside during an X-ray. You all waited at a safe distance and then returned.
I mean, I'm not quite sure. I think she just felt, she said a mirror had fallen down in her house, and that's why she thought she had ghosts.
Definitely that rather than gravity.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know how you'd know if Princess Margaret was on the rampage, but maybe
I've got
bath running, maybe. Just an idea.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Talking about the ghost of Princess Margaret this morning on Absolute Radio.
Well, before we do that, I don't want it to seem like I've lowered the tone of the show, but I've just received an email entitled
Getting out your lunchbox.
Alun's lunchbox. Hi, FEA. Have just seen a picture of Alun's new lunchbox on Twitter. Made me laugh as I have the exact same one. I am a 23-year-old woman, but I guess the pink compartment lunchboxes cross all barriers. Praise redacted.
Oh,
Keeping
she's a
it
woman
real.
of great taste, clearly.
Back to Princess Margaret.
Yes.
I think we can squarely blame method acting for this, because method acting has inflated how much it costs for actors to do the role. Like some actors, they inhabit the person and they talk as them for a year, even in between takes. So obviously Helena Bonham Carter knows this. She can't say, oh yeah, I've done my research, I spent an hour on YouTube watching Princess Margaret being interviewed, I've got the voice. It's basically just an impression. So she's had to go, oh God, what else can I do that they're not doing? And she's thought,
She's had to roll out the psychic.
I've got that psychic in the house doing the de-ghosting. Why don't I just get her involved
Well, the
as
perfect
well?
thing for an acting job would be to be possessed by the spirit of the person, literally possessed
That
by
would
the
be
spirit of
useful,
the person
wouldn't it?
you're
Yes.
portraying.
Very useful.
Who would you be
Perfect.
possessed by the spirit of?
It's got to be someone dead.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can't think of a better
any.
note on which to end. I'm going to go Leslie Joseph in my case. I mean, I hope she's
alive.
okay. I know, but I'm just saying, give it time.
Saw her at
You
the
know.
theatre only last year. She was wonderful.
I can't. I love the idea of ending the show on that note. A Leslie Joseph at the theatre anecdote. Thank you for staying with us this morning. Thank you, Gareth. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be seeing you.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.